What is this glass disc with letters, numbers, fractions, and special characters? The disc appears to have some kind of printing application. It is about 5 pounds in weight, and the diameter is 8 inches. The metallic middle section that probably goes on a spindle is 4 inches in diameter in the front. There are 2 3-inch and 2-inch circular concentric metallic plates on the back of the disc on a spindle. Any ideas on what this could be? It's a Luma type disc used for photo typesetting. Between letterpress and desktop publishing, there was another technique that was often forgotten: photo typesetting. It was used from the middle of the 20th century until the 1980s. Photo typesetting basically works like creating photographic prints from a negative. The diatype machines used discs because they could easily be shifted and rotated inside a photo typesetting machine to reach a certain letter. The diatype can only hold one font at a time, so when you want to switch the font, you have to open the backside of the machine and replace the font manually. When desktop publishing came along, those machines very quickly came out of use. What is this piece of metal with the embossment of the Wall Street Journal Europe edition? About 29 centimeters long, 2 centimeters thick, and very heavy. I found it in an abandoned newsstand, and I have no other useful information. I looked for information on newsstand material relating to the Wall Street Journal, both for print and daily work, but I didn't know much about the topic and didn't find anything useful. Any idea what this is made for? It's a paperweight, and it's very much a pre-1990s item. When there used to be street corner newspaper sellers, it would weigh the stack of newspapers to keep the top one from blowing away. The name on the weight corresponded with the newspapers it held down. That explains why the wear pattern is uneven. The way this is oriented, most of the grabbing happened on one side only, cleaner than a brick or a rock, with advertising to boot. What is this thing given to us when my father-in-law passed away? It has old rope wrapped around a button with some of the rope being loose. It also has a wooden piece sticking through it with rope wrapped around it. And on the top has some type of fabric glued on it. Any info about what this might be would be helpful. It's a Gowu, a Chinese bowed string instrument developed from the erhu in the 1920s by the musician and composer Lu Wencheng and used in Cantonese music and Cantonese opera. The Gowu is similar in construction to the erhu, but has a slightly smaller soundbox and is commonly circular. It has a brighter and lighter tone as compared to the erhu with 2 strings, and its soundbox is covered on the front end with snakeskin from a python. What is this wooden Wiener Dog my sister brought back from our grandmother's house after we settled the will? It's about 10 inches long from nose to tail. The tail end is removable, and the body is hollow. Is this more than just a decoration? It's a novelty pencil holder made in the 1930s by the Broadhaven Manufacturing Company in New York. These are usually found with a leg and tail or ear missing. It's been described previously as a cigar box, but more likely it was a pencil box that originally contained a ruler and a pencil. I found this at Goodwill for $2, only 6 by 2 inches, and very ornate. There are no maker marks that I can see, nothing on the bottom or inside. I was interested to know what it would be for since it's so small. Does anyone have a clue about the origin? It's a Japanese cloisonne chocolate pot from the Meiji period, from 1868 to 1912. By the early 20th century, the golden age of hot chocolate had come and gone, and chocolate pots enjoyed some popularity. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Japanese had considerable success exporting porcelain chocolate pots and other wares to North America. But by the 1950s, chocolate pot production died down. Tea was growing more popular by then. What is this thing I found in my yard, buried a foot deep in Racine, Wisconsin? It seems to be copper, roughly 4 inches in diameter, and feels hefty for its size. The letters are FMC and possibly a small O. The O might only be there to make the C look like an I, or to make the monogram more closely resemble a Celtic knot. It was probably attached to something wood and not to something metal. There isn't any damage around the two holes, which makes me think nail and not rivet. Does anyone know what this is? It's a firemark. They were used from 1752 to circa 1900. They were attached to the home near the front door to show that you paid for your fire insurance. This way, the original fire insurance companies would actually work to put out a fire that started in your home. It apparently is a myth that the volunteer fire company wouldn't put out a fire unless you had a fire insurance mark, that they would often declare a false alarm and calmly walk away from the scene. It seems the truth is, the volunteer fire company received a reward from the insurance company whose fire mark was on the burning building. What is this key? The things written on the two different sides are slightly different. It is about 10 centimeters long and made from metal. I am located in Sweden if it is relevant. I will happily provide more information, but I can't think of anything else that would be relevant and helpful. Any ideas? It's a Masonic key. The best I can track down is that it is from an 8th degree Mason in the Danish Freemasonry. I found the exact key from this book, and the book is from London, dated 1898. The motto on the key means, "He who closes the door, and he who opens the door in the order stated." What this means in context is a mystery, unless you're a Mason. I can't track down other references, but it seems you have a nice piece of history here. What is this stainless steel auger-looking tool with a valve? My grandpa bought this from an antique fair, not knowing what it is. We think it's made from stainless steel. It's around 4 inches long, and it is hollow on the inside. Potentially it's medical or used for food. Any help is appreciated. It's a 19th century English champagne tap with drop points. Champagne taps have been around since the early 19th century, with the first patent issued in France in 1828. They are designed to penetrate the cork without actually opening it, drawing off some liquid by opening the valve, and then by closing the valve, the bubbles of the gaseous liquid are preserved. The idea was to insert the drop point. Once the tap had completely inserted into the cork, the spike would fall to the bottom of the bottle and the liquid could be drawn. What is this torpedo-looking thing sitting within a small Greek village by the seaside? The village is Mesta, a small Greek village on the island of Chios, and the island sits near the Turkish border. I was thinking it could be some form of World War II munition. Do you have any ideas on what this could be? Please let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.